ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Tuesday evening. A lot of people, you were probably expecting a show last night. Your boy came down with the most horrendous version of the flu I've ever had. I'm going to tell you right now, COVID ain't shit alongside what this dude was talking about. This flu, I don't mean to make this about me, but it is our show, okay? I've done some crazy things in my life. I've put myself through an immense amount of pain and discipline in search of finding some inner strength, such as like fasting. Fasting's a big thing. For the first 7 years out of college, from my senior year until I was about 24, I used to fast during January, fast all month. I know it sounds crazy. It was insane. I would go to the depths of my sanity to try to find some toughness. This shit turned me into some puddle, okay? I'm talking about awful. So much so that I ain't never received a flu shot in my life. I'm probably signing up for the flu shot the rest of my life. So if you can avoid the flu this year at all costs, please do so, because I thought I was going to die. So welcome in. I hope to have a great show for you guys. Don't know how much juice I'm going to have. It's not going to be the normal me, but hey, we're playing through it. We're fighting through it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate and review it. I want to start with this, okay? And normally I would be real fit to be tied. I'd be hot. I'd have some attitude about me, but we're going to walk through this with a good old-fashioned methodical and monotonous tone here, okay? And that's this NCAA investigation up in Tennessee. Now, here's the deal. I've been around college football a long time. You guys have too. And since NIL and since transfer portal has come around, the number one thing I hear on social media all the time is people complaining, bitching, and moaning about how this sport needs some type of governance, about how this sport needs somebody to look over it and take over it, how this sport needs a commissioner, how this sport needs some type of rules enacted and enforced. And then the moment the NCAA tries to enact some type of rules or go out here and catch some people that are doing some malfeasance, everybody gets on social media and wants to clown on the NCAA. I don't really understand this. I really don't, okay? So much so that today was just another one of these things in a long line of, ha, look at the NCAA. They ain't shit. All right, I don't understand this. And you guys, again, y'all criticize the NCAA when they do nothing. When the NCAA sits on their hands and lets all these things go by the wayside, everybody's like, good Lord, what has happened to our sport? And then the moment the NCAA starts, perusing around some of these programs, everybody's all up in arms, okay? Everybody wants to be clamoring for a commissioner. We need someone to look over the sanctity of college football. I've heard that over and over and over and over again over the last 2 years. And I understand it. I get it. But let me ask you this. If you just replaced the term NCAA, if you just replaced it with Commissioner John, you think Commissioner John's out here got an approval rating of 100%? You think people like Commissioner John? No, they don't. Tell me how many times you see Roger Goodell get a standing ovation. 0. Matter of fact, they boo him and spit on him every time they get a chance to. Bud Selig over there at the end, who's the MLB commissioner?
Oh, Rob Manfred.
You think people like Rob Manfred? No, they hate Rob Manfred. Okay, Adam Silver. Adam Silver had a tremendous PR rating. Everybody loved Adam Silver until he got into that shit with China, and then everybody's out on Adam Silver. Adam Silver's Q rating, all right? Nobody likes commissioners because the moment they enforce some rules on your daggum football team, everything's unfair. Everything's unfair. Everybody sucks. I hate this guy. Get him out of here. Boo. Boo the commissioner. We need help. We need someone to survey this sport. We need to bring back the sanctity of college football. Here comes the NCAA trying to enact some rules, trying to enforce some rules, trying to say, hey, probably can't use a private jet to go pick up a high school kid and then offer him NIL money. Probably can't do that. All right. But the moment this all starts getting investigated, the moment the NCAA starts coming around, everybody wants to get these jokes. Everybody wants to shit on the NCAA. And I'm just telling you, you replace the NCAA with a commissioner, it's not going to change how you feel about rules getting enforced in your sport. But the reality of the matter is, okay, you need it. You need these types of things, okay? Because let's look at it. Since these NIL investigations have started in the NCAA, let's look at the 3 schools, okay? Let's talk about it. Florida State, Okay, Florida State's offensive coordinator, these are all reports, by the way. Florida State's offensive coordinator picked up a transfer from the airport, drove him directly to an NIL collective's house, all right? Let them meet with the collective, highly illegal, then drove him back to the facility, continued the recruiting visit. Ooh, we should probably go investigate that. Oh, NCAA, screw you, you're idiots. What the hell, man? Florida, let's look at them. Florida gained a commitment from a high school football player for, not illegally, but improperly promising him $13 million of NIL. He then gets to campus and they tell him, we were just kidding. Thanks for coming, though. Thanks for signing your national letter of intent. But we ain't got $13 million for you. We thought we might have had it, but we don't have it for you. Thanks for coming clear across the country to play for our 7-5 football program. Don't you think that's worth investigating? Probably. No. Commissioner John can do that, but the NCAA does it. They're idiots. They're stupid. They're out here enforcing rules that they don't even have, a clear, concise picture of. Okay? Well, let's take Tennessee into example. Don't you think that if there were a commissioner, not named the NCAA, that if there were a program out here using a booster's freaking jet to fly out to California, to pick up a player and his family, fly him back to Knoxville on a private jet, then sit him down in the facility, tell him how much they were going to pay him, upwards of $8 million, get his family back on the private jet, fly him back to California, and then secure his commitment? Don't you think that should be investigated? Don't you think that's a little outside the bounds of name, image, and likeness? I think that's what we're forgetting about all this. Name, image, and likeness allows people to make money once they get to college. It was not enacted to persuade or sway a commitment decision. That is not what this was made for. This was made for when you get to college, when you get to your school, and you perform, then major companies can decide to endorse you. This was not made for pay for play. This was made for real revenue, for people to make money off their name, image, and likeness, not to make money off their commitment. There is a reason these things are getting investigated, and just throwing your hands up and saying the NCAA is stupid is a very ignorant way of going about this, in my opinion, okay? And it's an easy stance. It's very, very easy to come out here and say, man, screw the NCAA. They're a bunch of bitches. Okay, well, who's going to enact the rules? Okay, so for every time you tweet about how, oh, my college football world's ruined, why can't anybody save us? Somebody's trying. You just want to shit on them every time you get an opportunity. Welcome in. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Doing good.
I think this is like classic case of, when you're little and every time your parents get on to you and you're like, dude, this is so unfair. Mom or dad just doesn't get it. They don't understand my life. They suck for enforcing these rules that don't need to be around. Like, they just need to let me be and I'll be all right. They just need to stay out of my life and it's going to be okay. But then as you get older, you look back and like, dang, man, I'm so glad I had mom and dad around to enforce these rules on me and instill these values in me, because it made me a better person. And right now, you know what? Do parents make mistakes? Yes. Has the NCAA made mistakes in the past? Absolutely. But you know what? 20 years from now, we might be grateful that the NCAA is enforcing these rules around NIL, because all anybody wants to talk about is how NIL is ruining the sport, how there needs to be some type of foundation built around this. There needs to be cohesiveness amongst everybody. 20 years from now, we might be thanking that the NCAA went on top of Tennessee and Florida State and Florida for doing all these things.
Look, man, and here's what I told you guys before the show. This is all recruiting based, right? This is all about player acquisition. This is all about getting players to your campus and getting players to play for you. And if you're in the recruiting world, this shit has not been quiet at all. We know the schools. We know who's out here driving 100 on the freeway. We all do, okay? Tennessee was one of them, all right? And maybe they won't be. Maybe they won't continue to do this. Maybe they'll do it the quote-unquote right way. And that's the other thing I keep hearing about. Well, there's no clear set of rules. Well, I can tell you what's not legal. I can tell you what's not legal in any form of college football recruiting. Flying the damn guy on a booster's private jet to your campus for an unofficial visit. That is not by any stretch of the means legal. And I saw people on social media doing oh, really? This is what we're getting up in arms on. Yeah, yeah, this is what people are frustrated about because this is not level playing field. And Tennessee's comments today and their article or their letter that they wrote to the NCAA, this is comical. And I know we have to do this every once in a while for you guys because people don't like to read, but I'll read for you because this was put in the very bottom of a Pete Thamel report today on ESPN. It's about 2,000 words, and the last paragraph is this right here. Quote, this is from a letter from, I forget man's name, Plowman is his name, shouts out. It is, quote, it is intellectually dishonest for the NCAA staff to issue guidelines that say a third-party collective / business may meet with prospective student athletes, discuss NIL, even enter a contract with prospective student athletes, but at the same time say that the collective may not engage in conversations that would be of a recruiting nature. Any discussion about NIL might factor into a prospective student athlete's decision to attend an institution. This creates an inherently unworkable situation, and everybody knows it. That's them basically saying your rules are shit, so we didn't follow them. Huh? No, you can't do that. By the way, I don't care what the NIL rules are. All right, it's very clear to me that you can an athlete can make money once they get to your school, but this idea of enticing an athlete to commit to your program via an NIL endorsement or an NIL enticement, that is against the rules. That has always been against the rules since this stuff came out. Now, I will admit there is an extreme amount of vagueness to all of this, to this new landscape of name, image, and likeness, mostly due to the fact that the states all have their own independent rules. They all have their own independent legislation because that's kind of how this country was founded. This country was founded on the fact that, states are independent of the nation as a whole, right? We all have our own little governments, but we all fall under the national government, right? That's the whole idea of the American government, structure. And I understand that the NCAA is trying to work the same way, but you can't do that. You can't do that because we're all trying to play on this quote-unquote even playing field. And it doesn't make any sense to do it that way. But yeah, this statement today was classic to me because it basically said, yeah, we didn't follow no rules because y'all didn't give us no rules. So, we was out here flying kids on private jets. Why not? That was wild to me. Also wild to me was this statement from Spire Sports. Now, the Spire Sports is the collective that is caught up in all this. It's Tennessee's collective fund. Now, this is funny to me. This statement is very, very funny to me. And I don't want to read all of it, but I'm going to read most of it because I think I'm a pretty good reader. I'm going to be quick. But it's so funny to me because this statement has not a shit to do with the allegations and the actual infractions. Okay. But Tennessee fans are eating this up. All right, here we go. Quote, in early 2022, independent of the University of Tennessee or anyone associated with its athletics program, Spire Sports entered a mutually beneficial contractual relationship with Nico Almaliva. That's not how you pronounce his name. That involved a limited assignment of his NIL rights, no matter which school he chose to attend. That's cap. Such, quote, representation agreements have become increasingly common. The parties agreed that their contractual rights and obligations would be governed by California law, which freely allows prospective college athletes to enter such agreements. Now, they go through this full 3-paragraph answer about how, hey, we didn't do nothing wrong with signing this contractual agreement, and I'm in agreement with you. I don't think Tennessee did anything wrong with regards to paying this athlete. What they did wrong was flying the kid out on a private jet and offering him $8 million before he signed a national letter of intent. That was against the rules, okay? That you can't do. And by the way, everybody knew about this. Everybody who is anybody paying attention to recruiting knew about this. This was very loud, very, very loud. In Discord today, okay, people were asking about this. Hey, is this real? And I said, yeah, it's real, okay? There's a difference between paying a kid to come to your school and flying him out on the PJ. There's two totally different lines being crossed there, all right? And everybody knew about this one. This was very loud. This was very obvious. And when you're loud and obvious, the NCAA is going to show up, and they're going to investigate. And whether or not they come away with something is beside the point. The point is, can't be flying kids out on PJs, all right? You can offer them $8 million, but once they get there, all right? This one's funny to me, guys, because all the posturing we've seen from Tennessee is very strong-handed. It's very loud and obnoxiously right, or we're right, we're innocent, we haven't done anything wrong, while also dodging the actual allegations of what the NCAA is claiming, which is that you did this with improper means. Mm-hmm. You did not negotiate this in good faith.
Yeah, it's clear to me that Tennessee's trying to come away by playing the victim here, and like you said, it's just not going to work out simply because of what they did with the private jet and things such as that. I think it is. I do somewhat understand the sentiment as to why Tennessee's upset, because it's kind of a why us, why now, and whether or not you believe that the NCAA has a bone to pick with Tennessee or that they have it out for them, it does seem like they've had a lot of allegations and investigations come down the pipe lately, especially when you've got like guys like Ryan Day saying, "Oh, it's going to cost us $13 million to keep our roster this year," and then signing Caleb Downs and Julian Say, and like there's a lot of fishy stuff going on in college football. So if I'm a Tennessee fan, I'm looking around, kind of saying, why us right now? Why are we the ones getting picked on?
Because your boosters decided that they were going to leak a story to The Athletic about a 2023 5-star that they gave $8 million to. Shut up. Just be quiet. You know what I mean? If you out here in the streets, don't be telling the feds. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they did.
Yeah.
This was so loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's fandom. Okay, fans will always play victim. But how do you play victim here?
Well, I remember when that article came out about Tennessee paying an athlete, and like they try to be very discreet about it, but it doesn't take long to figure out who exactly they're talking about. Just with Florida State, it took no time whatsoever to read that article about Florida State and be like, oh, that was a Mary Smims. That's who they were colluding with, and that's who they were working with on that visit. And then this one, when that report came out about paying $8 million for a Tennessee football player, it's like, oh, obviously that is Nico. And at the time, I remember when reading that, it was unheard of for anybody to be leaking any type of information about paying athletes. Like even Texas A&M, they weren't being that loud about like, oh, this is what we're paying. Like you kind of knew it was going on, but Tennessee just flat out was like, this is what we got, fam. Like this is what we're working with.
It sounds to me, because Texas A&M, like you said, is one of these schools that was out here trafficking with some heavy speeds. And I think the way they got by this in terms of NCAA investigations was just not paying those kids what they promised them, maybe, or at least being very, very contractually obligated. Maybe some NDAs signed. I don't know. But yeah, the oh my God, why are they coming after us? How'd they even find this? Why are people investigating us? Buddy, you had The Athletic quoted from Spire, the collection, out here telling them that they paid a 5-star $8 million. You signed one 5-star in the class.
Oops.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows what you did. And again, the price point is not the problem. The problem was thinking that you could fly a private jet across the country, pick up a 17-year-old's family, bring them back to Knoxville, offer them the contract with the NIL collection, then fly them back home. Again, all this stuff very loud, because I'm of the belief that Nico and his family were so blown away by the offer that it was way over anything that they ever even asked. Because like you said, it reset the market, okay? There's a reason Matt Rule's out here telling you that, transfer quarterbacks or starting quarterbacks cost $2 million. Because these guys set the market in 2023. I also love the take. I've seen a bunch of takes on this lately. I love the take that this is somehow going to demolish the NCAA, that this is going to piss off other institutions, that this is going to make other institutions mad, and that because they keep going after these schools for NIL legislation. Buddy, listen to coaches. Listen to coaches stand in front of the microphone and tell you how corrupt the game of college football is right now, how all these kids are getting poached left and right with NIL negotiations. They're trying. They're trying to go get these schools, and everybody just wants to shit on them. Everybody just wants to crap down their throats. It's so easy. It's the most easy take in the world to go on social media and go, ha, NCAA, bunch of idiots. Good luck. Good luck. Whoever he or she is that actually gets appointed the commissioner of college football, I promise you right now, your ass going to be hated. People are going to think you're an idiot, just like they do Roger Goodell, just like I started tonight's show. Welcome in. We got a loaded one for you. We're going to talk about being born on third base. Okay, I don't necessarily think it's the case, but we're going to talk about it. And we're going to try. We're going to try to get into this Taylor Swift algorithm. Hold on with me. We're going to ride that wave, baby. We're going to try to ride that wave. We're going to set the bar. It's a nice little segment our boy Kirby brought to us last week. We're going to bring it back again tonight. We're going to talk about Iowa's new offensive coordinator, who I can't wait. I cannot wait to bring you some of the stats on my man right there. And then we're going to play a game of Yak or Smack, another game we brought into you last week. And the Senior Bowl is underway. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, and review. Hey, we had a banger of a week last week, okay? Over 600 new subscribers due to one film study. And here's what I got to thinking about, boys. I think we're great at this. I think there's no doubt we have the best show in college football. I think we talk college football better than anybody. I know I'm biased. But I know there's one thing that this channel does better than anybody else, and that's actually talk football. Okay, when we get on that board and we break that shit down, ooh, y'all eat that in. Y'all, it's just like a sponge. Okay, and the Alabama film study was an exact example of that. I've already done my next study. I have not filmed it, meaning I have the notes on them. They're about 2 pages long, and ironically enough, it is on Nico and his first start against Iowa. I'm gonna be bringing that to you tomorrow, and get into that. Okay, guys, the Taylor Swift stuff's not gonna be real. It's gonna be a joke. So have fun and laugh with us, for Christ's sakes. Don't get serious on us. But anyways, so there's that. But hey, I want to take a quick second to throw some shout outs to our friends over at Prize Picks. Make sure you run it over to prizepicks.com today using promo code Brooks and sign it up. You get a 100% deposit match. What does that mean? It means you put up to $100, you will get matched instantly with $100 over there. And as of right now, the only way you can get some legal action in the state of Georgia, that might be changing. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight as well. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you miss any portion of tonight's broadcast, our boy Jay will have it up and ready for you on your podcast platforms. However, wherever you catch your podcast, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. All right, because your boy fighting through some pain. I might pass out when I'm done with this tonight. Whew. Hello.
Right on live?
That'd be pretty sick.
Maybe not on live.
Honestly, if you were going to pass out, please do. Like, let me know so I can put the camera on you.
Dude, I was telling y'all, I'm dead serious about this fluenza, okay? Here's how bad it was, boys. I was at the doctor yesterday morning, okay? I got this shit Saturday. I'm not going to tell you how I got it. It was some ignorance from yours truly. But anyways, I got this shit Saturday morning. I woke up just feeling like dog ass. And then I went to the doctor yesterday. And here's how bad it was. I was in my black film guy hoodie, right? I had sweat stains through the tits, the pits, the back, and the sides. Okay, in a black hoodie. I was completely drenched, pouring all over my core. My legs were like frostbitten. Okay, I had goosies on my lower body. My lower body was shivering. My upper body was in pure sweats because my intestines were like, oh, we're about to die. We're about to die. We're about to die. We need to fight this fever. Okay, it was the worst thing I've ever had. No cap. So, yeah, stay away from the flu, boys.
Trying to.
Death.
We needed to send the magic school bus inside of you and just see what was going on.
Man, Miss Frizzle would have been like, yo, wrap him up. Wrap him up. Put him in a box. He's over with.
He's a goner.
Honest to God.
Students, this is what we call death.
Honest to God, I've been with my wife almost 9 years. It'll be 9 years this spring. God, it's a long time. Shouts out to my wife. Tremendous job of taking care of me. I've gone through everything: broken shoulders, torn AC joints, fractured ankles, all the stuff, playing football, concussions, okay, all the stuff. She was right there with me. I ain't never cried in front of my wife. Never. Not for anything other than my kids made me emotional. Dude, this is some real shit, bro. This is some real shit. Stay away. Stay away. And the moment you're offered, again, never done it. Always thought the flu shot. Oh, yeah. Inject me with the virus. Okay. Yeah. The flu ain't shit. No, the flu's some shit, bro. Stay away. But, yeah, we might make this a stay away from the flu show all night tonight. Some people are born on third base and act as if they hit a triple. What a bar from that man, Jim Harbaugh, back in 2021, huh?
That might be my favorite Jim Harbaugh quote. Because I remember
what runs in the ranks for that?
That's about it.
Fence?
We fence.
Do you remember we fence?
I don't remember
we don't play offense. We don't play defense. We play we fence.
What was the one about something about killer? I don't even remember.
I'm gonna Google best Jim Harbaugh quotes. You keep talking.
Yeah, but no. Basically, that born on third base thing is probably the favorite Jim Harbaugh quote I have, and it really cemented that rivalry between him and Ryan Day. And that was right before the table started turning too. So
if worms had machine guns, then birds wouldn't be scared of them.
Yeah, there you go. That's one of them. What else you got?
Oh, I didn't even click on them. I don't take vacations. I don't get sick. I don't observe major holidays. I'm a jackhammer. I don't know what that means.
Said a whole lot of nothing there.
I take a vitamin every day. It's called a steak.
Oh, dude, he drinks milk with his steak.
Yeah. Have you heard about the chicken?
No.
Yeah. Heard
He
about that.
he walked into his I guess they had meals for pregame meal, and he walked up to the dietitian with all of his players sitting there like going through the food line, and he just grabbed steak and like a baked potato and some milk, and he walked up to his player while his player was getting some chicken, and he said, "Hey, don't eat that chicken. It's a nervous bird." I guess because a chicken's a nervous bird, he doesn't want nervous energy in his body, so he doesn't eat chicken.
I still can't get over eating a steak with milk. That's pretty diabolical.
What? We play a game called Peru ball. It's a game we invented in Peru. The rules are so simple. You play with a football, and one team's going in one direction, the other team's going in the other direction. Get the ball across the line, the length of a soccer goal, that's it. That's the only rules. I have no idea what he's talking about. This man is impressive. Impressively unique.
An
Porky?
an encyclopedia of just dog shit quotes is what I like to say.
Yeah.
But no, the born on third base one is kind of ironic now that Sherrone Moore has taken the keys to a national championship team. But I got to thinking about it. Do you think that Sherrone Moore has quote unquote been born on third base?
No, I think it's the opposite.
Okay, so then we're on the same wavelength.
So this
here.
comment was obviously about Ryan Day replacing Urban Meyer. Once Urban Meyer faked another heart attack, and then
no, it was his brain
aneurysms, whatever. Back on college football immediately, and then went to Jacksonville. Right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Kicked a player.
How you do that twice? How you fake a heart attack in Florida to get out of that contract? Take a couple years off, make a couple million on TV, then go take the Ohio State job. And then do the same thing, and then go kick a kicker in the NFL. Wild arc for our boy Urban. But no, this is totally different in my opinion, because of here's the difference, right? Urban left Ohio State fully intact. It was like, here's the keys. I'm gonna go retire. Okay, I'm gonna go talk about football on Fox.
I'm gonna go to a bar.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to a bar and holler at a blonde chick. So there's that, and then there's what Harbaugh is currently doing to Michigan, which is absolutely pillaging the village. This dude is taking everybody that wants to come. He's like Jerry Maguire, is standing up. I'm doing it. I'm gonna go start my own agency. Who's coming with me? And then Penelope stands up. Is like, I got you, baby. We're going. Don't forget my fishbowl. There's that whole thing going on, and it's totally different than what Ohio State. Oh, and by the way, NCAA sanctions, right? Investigations. All out the wazoo. This could not be any more different. In fact, I don't even think he's born on first. I think he's born in the hole.
I think it looks like he was born on third base, but there is a nuclear missile oncoming that'll be there in about a season or two where people are just going to be, oh my God, what the hell is going on with Michigan? You also have to remember that Oregon's in the Big Ten. The team that went to the national championship now, they lost their head coach as well, and their roster got gutted, but that team's in your conference as well. Ohio State has just assembled the Avengers, it looks like, through the transfer portal. So things aren't going to be very easy for Michigan going forward.
One question I have for Michigan fans is, if you didn't win a title, what would you feel about this dude? Right? If they lost that game to Washington, let's just say, and he heads off to the NFL, leaves you with all these sanctions, and then pillages your roster and leaves you with Sherrone Moore as your head coach.
He'd be dog cussing him.
Oh, you would hate him. He wouldn't be
him.
allowed back on campus. But since he won, so everything's all good.
And I think
You bought me a brand new house, honey. You can beat me.
Oh,
Just kidding.
and but I do think that's
You can
kind
abuse me mentally. It's been mental abuse. Let's call it.
Oh, for sure.
He ain't put his hands on Michigan, but he's definitely mentally
He's
taking
meant-
advantage of
Yeah,
him.
yeah. And I think like at the end of the day, like the more you look at it, this was kind of perhaps Jim Harbaugh's evil plan, where it was like he always wanted to go back to the NFL, but he knew that unless I deliver a national championship to this team, there will be no way I can leave a dignified, not even dignified, but respected within this organization. To where now you can pretty much do whatever you want. I mean, he has up and left. He's leaving sanctions all on the table, possible. I mean, gutted the roster. So, yeah, it has worked out well for him in that aspect.
Yeah, went back to the ex-girlfriend after saying he wasn't going to go back to the ex-girlfriend. That's kind of how it feels to me.
After flirting with the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, after
repeatedly.
flirting and getting caught and like, oopsie, sorry, here's you a nice big gift present. now I'm going to leave. Everything's okay, though. You just have to deal with your shit, whatever. But I mean, even without the sanctions or anything like that, I still wouldn't call it being born on third base. I don't think that Michigan's roster is in the standpoint of where you could call it being born on third base. But it only would be if Sherrone Moore would be able to continue what Jim Harbaugh was able to do with the roster, which he might be able to do that. Now, of course, like we mentioned, it really doesn't matter because of all this stuff that's looming in the distance for them. So I think it's still a top job, obviously. It definitely puts you ahead of most just automatically in the pack, but
I think that Sherrone Moore honestly has one of the more unfortunate positions in college football because the public persona is going to be, oh, you were handed the keys to a national championship winning team. You should have success. When in reality, you have such an uphill battle to have success with this team you have now because of all the things we've listed. So the public perception is you should be winning, but it's going to be twice as hard to win now with the situation Jim Harbaugh's left you. So I think he's going to have a really difficult tenure, honestly.
I'm just sitting here writing them out. I'm trying to decide where I would even put Michigan on the top jobs. I mean, just think about it. Georgia, Texas, USC, Bama, Ohio State, LSU. Those are non-negotiables.
I'd probably put Florida above it.
You put Florida above it?
I think so.
Because of proximity to talent?
Proximity to talent, and I mean, heck.
All right, we'll put Florida with a question mark there. My next was like Oregon. Where's Oregon rank in this comparative to Michigan?
Gosh, that's so tough.
In the world of NIL.
I put them on the same level, honestly.
I would too.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Big Ten pockets now. Their pockets are extremely deep.
So, I mean, that's the real question. I mean, how good is this job anyways? Now, I know Harbaugh turned it into something, but Harbaugh was the third best team in the Big Ten until he hired Stallions.
Ooh. Who's the second?
What you oohing?
Who's
Penn
second?
State. Penn State got him 2 out of 4 years before Stallions was hired.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe
so.
3 out of 4.
I guess so, yeah.
Penn State and my boy James Franklin was out here getting contract extensions off of Jim Harbaugh's ass. So, ain't no lie there. With some daggum Trace McSorley at quarterback.
Trace McSorley.
Was that a rap song or something?
Whoa. You don't know about the Tracy
I think you
song?
guys tried to introduce me to this one time on a road trip.
Yeah.
And I
think we
don't quite
did.
remember it. Yeah.
Legendary
anyways,
song.
we don't have to recap that.
You had to be there.
Yeah, it had to be there. Iowa? Or should we talk T-Swizzle?
It's up to you. You're driving this boat.
Let me drive the boat.
Yeah, let me drive the boat.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's talk Taylor Swift.
All right. So here's how we're going to do this. You explain it.
All right. So Taylor Swift has been in the media a shit ton lately for reasons that pure football fans aren't exactly enthused about, and so much so that has kind of led to the entire world preying on the Chiefs' downfall. So I've kind of wondered, who is the Taylor Swift equivalent to college football? Who is that person that is loved, is overhyped,
Yeah.
I'm losing the word. What is it?
Publicized?
Over-publicized. Thank you.
Yeah.
Over-publicized to a point that you're just sick and tired of seeing them, and they don't even have as much to do with the game as it shows. So when they cut to this person, you're like, why am I seeing this person? It makes no sense to me.
All right, so give me your first nomination.
My first nomination is Matthew McConaughey.
That's a solid one.
I don't understand. I don't get why he's at the game. I get why he's at the game. I don't get why it's important he's at the game. I don't care that you've created some position that gives you an excuse to be on the, what is it, the minister of team culture?
It's the
what the hell is that?
I'm putting bags into
Yeah,
this school,
that's
so I'm
what
gonna
it's
stand on that sideline with my tight jeans and dap up players. That's what that is.
Yeah, and like mid-game interviews, like, let's talk to Matthew McConaughey about how he thinks the game is going. Like, why are we doing this? It's so he is the Taylor Swift equivalent in college football for me, in that he's a celebrity that has nothing to do with the game, has no effect on it, but they will pan to him every chance they can.
You got one?
I got one in this context of like someone who people love to talk about, they clamor to it, and I just don't really get it. Now, and tie this in with Taylor Swift because in the NFL scene of like, obviously Taylor Swift, immensely talented, whatever, but on the NFL scene, I don't really need to hear about her all the time and see her all the time throughout the game. And for me right now, that's PJ Fleck. PJ Fleck, loved by many. 3 years ago, that's great. PJ Fleck deserves some love 3 years ago. Row the boats, got the tie on. I'm rocking with you now.
That was fun.
3 years later, I'm not really getting it anymore. Like, sure, it's cool. You're at Minnesota. You got all this stuff, but like, I don't see the lure or the lust for a PJ Fleck anymore.
Can I tell you a story about PJ Fleck?
Yeah, I would love to hear a PJ Fleck
story.
story.
I'm gonna tell the story on air because, bro, if you out here in the world acting like this, people need to talk about you. All right, so I'm gonna do it. I was at a camp circuit. All right, this was very recently, and a bunch of coaches there, a bunch of college coaches, and here comes PJ Fleck. And PJ Fleck, now a lot of head coaches have assistants, like dedicated to them. They follow them around. Kirby's got one of these guys. Follows them around, helps him out with all of his schedule, tells him what's coming up next. Hey, who's that guy? You know, all the little right-hand man stuff or right-hand woman stuff, right? Bro, PJ Fleck was treating this dude like one of them guys in the video or in the history books that's fanning the king with a fucking leaf.
Ooh,
all right?
there's one.
Sorry. Flu brain all over the place. But yeah, Pete, like to the point where he would finish his water and he would just hold it like this and the guy would come up and pick it out of his hand. Shit you not. He would stick his hand out like this. Assistant would give him his phone and he'd start talking.
That's baller.
Not baller.
It's so baller.
It's D-bag.
What if he made you do
So
that?
baller.
Yeah, what if I made you do that?
Oh, I would never do that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's very demeaning to your employees. The other thing that I noticed about him is all the reporting on this dude. Have you heard some of these stories? Mm-mm. Bro, at Minnesota, when PJ Fleck walks in the room, the whole team has to stand up and give him a standing ovation. And if he doesn't, I'm serious.
No, you're serious. That's just funny.
And here's the best part. If he doesn't like the sound with which he was met with, he walks back out of the room and starts over. PJ Fleck has a 3-inch binder that he gives every single new player. And in that binder is like 47 pages of cliches, just all kind of little coaching idioms, right? Like if you ain't first, you're last. Or, you know, all the dumb shit. There's 2 types of pain of regret and pain of discipline, right? Like all these really good coach idioms, it's just a dictionary of them, all right? And when he bumps into players, A, if they don't have their binder on them, they get punished. B, he makes them recite it on spot, all right? And the other thing, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something along the lines of, oh, I know what it was. If he asks you how you're doing, you have to say, I'm elite. You can't say, I'm good, coach, how are you? It's he's baiting you to say that I'm elite. So if you walk up and say, hey, Jay Will, how you doing?
I'm elite.
I mean, that's all you can do. If you say anything else, he punishes you.
Bro, what?
Yeah, this dude has a real coaching job.
This is a cult.
Very much so.
Yes.
Very much so.
So-
So yeah, I'm with you there.
Cool.
I got a submission for you.
What's up?
And I don't feel great about this one.
Who you got?
Ben Herbstreit getting way too much love.
Oh, no. He went for the dog?
I went for the dog, man. I'm a dog lover. Don't get me wrong. I love me some dogs. But I could not imagine, and I can't imagine this because it would be us. I could not imagine one of you two's credentials getting pulled from the damn Rose Bowl because Ben Herbstreit needed a freaking credential. Now, I love Kirk. All right, Kirk, fan of the show. I love Kirk. We all love Kirk. I think Kirk's the best in the business. But why you dog on the sideline? Why you dog on the sideline? I can't even get sideline photo credentials. And your damn dog got a credential around his neck. Can't get over it. And way too much TV time for Ben.
Nah, dude, he's a cute dog.
He is cute.
He's
dog.
a good boy.
I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't manufacture a lot of takes. I manufactured that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I didn't feel good about
Tough
that
blow
one.
for Ben, man. Dang.
I didn't feel the passion behind it.
Yeah, I got a real one though. It's the antithesis of this, right? Taylor gets way too much love, right? Way too much love, way too much attention, way too much talking about this. Bill O'Brien's the opposite of this. I think Bill O'Brien's a good football coach that gets shit on just because he's Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
I think the thing that really hurt Bill O'Brien, and when this really started coming about, was the way that the DeAndre Hopkins trade was handled. When they sent him off to Arizona, it was kind of like, what is Bill O'Brien doing? And then the Texans were bad after that. I was like, oh, he's an idiot. And then just everything after that has kind of been like, oh, Bill O'Brien sucks no matter where he goes. When he was at Bama, he wasn't a good OC. Where was he after this? Where was he after Bama before he came back to Ohio State?
He was coaching in the league.
Yeah, but even then,
With
still was like,
Houston.
yeah, he was like, oh, this guy can't do anything. So
I just thought of another one.
What's up?
Ric Flair. Now, Ric Flair, icon. I mean, absolute nature boy, the woo, everything to do with who he is outside of college football, phenomenal. But I don't give a damn about who Ric Flair is rooting for in the national title game because it's always somebody else. One year it's Georgia. Then I'm going to go root for Michigan. Oh, now I'm a Bama fan. I don't give a damn who you want to root for, Ric Flair. Piss on your opinion.
The weird one was him jumping on the Tampa bandwagon after they lost. Did you see this?
Yeah, that was interesting.
He tweeted about how he was just this major Baker Mayfield fan, and I'm like, bro, that's a first. And people thought I was calling Baker a loser. I wasn't. I was talking about the Bucs being a loser, like losing, having lost that game, and then to turn on Twitter and see, Ric Flair's new affiliation with the Bucs. I'm like, what? It makes no sense. Normally, you pick the winner when you bandwagon. Who bandwagons the loser? That's wild.
Mattress Mac.
Some Ric Flair shit right there. Hey, yeah, the Taylor Swift conversation was all about the algorithm. I hope that bangs. Do we have any more?
Chat was saying Coach Prime a lot, but I think Coach Prime, while he is over-publicized by the media and he is kind of over-loved and overhyped, he has an effect on the game, and he is coaching football, and he is making moves. He's turned that Colorado program into a positive trajectory for at least the next year, at least.
All right, let's talk about this new Iowa offensive coordinator. I'm going to tell you this right now. There was no way of winning this one, okay? No matter what they did. Hell, they put it up on Indeed. I kept getting Gmail notifications from Indeed talking about
apply?
Finish your application. They wanted a new resume, and I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't created a resume since like 2019, so I didn't feel like doing it. Even though the joke would have been funny. But
I should have applied.
You should have applied? Do you think you would have got it?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. Maybe a second call.
He just want to throw a shot at you.
Like, hey, watch my Kalen DeBoer breakdown. Bama fans loved it. But no, they have a new offensive coordinator, and his name is Tim Lester. Okay? Now, Tim Lester is was currently an analyst for the Green Bay Packers. The last time Tim Lester called plays was in 2014 and 2015 for the Syracuse Orange.
The Orange.
And he finished 114th and 116th and 119th in total offense, which horrible, absolutely awful. Would still be an improvement on Iowa.
Oh God.
So it's an upgrade.
Hey, moving up in the world.
Moving up 6 spots. We went from absolute dog shit to maybe some human shit.
I don't know. I'd argue human shit's worse.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. You catch one of them big Labradors, bro.
Yeah, but
Look at Alex Ogletree liking my tweets. Come on the show, baby.
Alex?
Yeah.
The former Georgia player?
Yeah. Well, that's Alec. Okay. Maybe it was Alex. It's Alexander. It's Xander who liked that tweet for sure.
Yeah.
That was one of my worst takes ever. Coming out of high school, I thought Xander was going to be a dude because I watched him at Noonan. Classic high school football player that was just a maniac. But no, it didn't pan out. It was 5 for 10.
15 years ago.
Yeah, it was. I remember watching them against Warner Robins. Whole different thing. But yeah, this Iowa OC, no winning options there for them, right?
Yeah, no. Heck, when your opening job doesn't even have any type of buzz or like no one's really even providing any real updates of like, hey, by the way, this guy's interested in the job. Hey, they're looking at this guy. There was nothing around that offensive coordinator job. And that tells you that A, people probably aren't that interested in it, and B, it's just a crappy job. And you're probably doomed, regardless of who you're going to hire. You're likely doomed, and that's exactly what ended up happening.
Is there a minimum for what you have to pay coordinators in the NCAA? Like, I know there's league minimums in the NFL and things such as that, but can you just say to an offensive coordinator, like, hey, we'll pay you $50,000 a year? Because if so, why don't you just hold auditions where people come and play, I don't know, NCAA 14 or Madden, the new Madden, and just showcase their offensive play calling abilities? Iowa football will be so much more interesting if you did. You're not going to win the Big Ten. You're especially with these new divisions. You don't stand a chance. Why not
walk through the West?
Why not make your team interesting? Where it's like, hey, we've got an average Joe just who plays video games calling our plays this year. Now, I know that would never happen, but it would make Iowa football way more interesting than it is.
The only thing against that, though, is Iowa definitely can be a top 12 team. That's my only pushback on that of like, huh?
You think it'd be a top 12
I don't know
team?
about top 12.
I mean, they were pretty much in the top 12 the entire
But
year.
that's because of the divisions. They got to play a Big Ten West schedule. They don't get to do that
Yeah,
anymore.
but I mean, as crappy as they were, they still found ways to win games.
That's true.
That's the thing about Iowa. Like, as crappy as their offense is, they're going to find a way to win 9, 10 games. I don't know what the schedule looks like this year.
I don't think that's possible anymore for them.
winning 9 games in the Big Ten West.
I'm just saying, it's not like a shitty football program.
No,
They're a
it's
good
not.
football
It's not
program.
UMass. It's not Vanderbilt. I mean,
It's
there's
not even Syracuse.
no.
I mean, Fran's doing a great job, but it's not Illinois.
Right.
It's better than that.
Right. You can have success at Iowa, but I mean, for the time being, just like, hey, screw it. 1 year, we're just gonna have some guy call plays for us, and we'll see.
You just
A celebrity.
You just open up practice like, hey, who wants to be a kicker?
Celeb
Come
shot.
on up.
Celeb shot. Every game is a celeb shot, bro.
I think the women's TCU basketball team had to have open tryouts because they needed more bodies, and so they got some people on
Here's
the team.
an idea. You farm it out, and you say you can basically pay to call a play.
Ooh.
And then
There you go.
get booster endowment in. Hey, 20 G's. Call a whole quarter against Ohio State.
There would be some insane stuff that would happen.
Probably, but it is awful.
Annexation of Puerto Rico.
It is awful football up there offensively. And it wasn't just that they didn't have good – I went and watched it, unfortunately, and just conceptually made no sense. None of it. 3rd and 5, we're running 15-yard corners. It's like, what are we doing? You know? 2nd and 10, we're running, the 3rd and 2 package instead of the 2nd and 10 package. Just none of it made very much sense. All right, on to our next segment. Smack or yak? What do you got for me?
All right, so By the
way, I am absolutely weaning right now, so push.
Hang in there, buddy. You only got an hour and 15 to go.
I know, right? God dang, dude.
So this rule has come under a lot of fire recently, particularly in the NFL, but it is also a college rule, so much so that the rule has kind of been up for debate to be changed next year, and I think it would be a utter disappointment if it was. I think the touchback rule where the ball goes out the back of the end zone and the other team gets the ball is the perfect rule, and it should not be changed.
Who's talking about changing it?
Oh, it's up for debate in the NFL. They're talking about doing it in the NFL next year.
It's because it's happened twice now in the playoffs.
Yeah, protect the football.
Yeah, I think teams should be punished for fumbling in the most crucial spot of the game.
I think it's one of the coolest rules that makes football very unique.
Yes, thank you.
That you can drive 99.9 yards, and if you don't take care of the football as you cross that goal line, it doesn't matter. The other team gets the ball. It's like to me, it's one of the coolest rules in the sport. Other than this, and I don't know if this is true, Robbie Ross, if this is a lie, I'm going to find you. My high school special teams coach told me this. If you fair catch a football, technically you can walk out there, put a ball on a tee, and kick it from where you fair caught it for a singular point.
Kick it for what, a field goal?
Yeah.
Hold on. This is at the college level, I would assume. Or
So
at
he
just
told me
any
this in
level?
high school. I don't know if this is
High school.
completely true.
I'm looking this up.
Wait. You fair catch the ball?
If you fair catch a football, so if I fair catch a ball at the 50, I get to walk out there, have an untimed down, if I so choose, and kick a 1-point field goal. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, maybe.
I don't even know how you would Google that.
You would have to get a fair catch in your own.
That's why it never happens,
Yeah.
is what you're talking about.
All right. This is from quirkyresearch.com. And this says, after a fair catch, an NFL team has the right to take a free kick from the line of scrimmage on the next play. If the kick goes through the uprights, the kicking team scores 3 points. It is also known as a free kick field goal.
So wait, if you miss the kick, it doesn't count then?
That's your possession.
That's your possession.
Well, no shit. You can kick the field goal anywhere, and that doesn't make any sense.
This is a free kick, though. This is not a field goal.
Yeah, you didn't earn it. You just caught the ball where you caught it, and you kicked the field goal.
Right, but the free kick, there's no one can block it.
I'm going to look up what a free kick is.
No one can block it then? It doesn't make he basically just said a team can catch a
I interpret it as it's an untimed down. That's what they mean by a free kick. It's not that you can't go out there and block it. But the way my high school coach determined to me is that, you can literally go out there and set it on a tee, and it's basically like a kickoff where there's nobody out there, and you just get to walk out there and boot this son bitch as far as you can. But isn't that nuts?
Okay. A free kick is lined up like a kickoff rather than a field goal, as there is no snap and no kicking tee allowed. Instead, the bay must be placed or drop kicked, and the defense must stand at least 10 yards from the line of scrimmage before the ball is kicked.
Huh.
That's wild.
I didn't know that.
Apparently, it happened in 2019 with the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Bucks.
See, I love this about my brain, but I hate this about my brain. I can't hold on to nothing worth anything, okay? But when it comes to football, steel trap. Absolutely steel trap. So, yeah, that's one of the quirkier rules in all of football.
I just would like to know the people who are against the rule, like, what's your solution then? Like,
People say you get the ball where you fumbled.
what?
Or it goes back to you maintain possession of the ball, but it goes to the 25-yard line.
Now, I agree. Like, obviously, when it happens to you, like, the instant reaction is like, God, that rule sucks. Like, I hate that rule so much. When it happens to you, I understand that. People are going to act irrationally when it happens to yourself because it's like, golly, dude. Like, we should have scored, but we didn't, whatever. But, yeah, I just feel like there's no other solution to it that would improve it anyways. Like, I can't think of anything logical that would help solve that issue if you view it as an issue.
I can't wait to run into Robbie Ross one day and be like, bro, you're a genius. You're a smart guy.
Now I just want to see it happen.
Yeah, I do too.
So is that a smack? Are we all?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
No. I love the rule. I don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's my
So
opinion.
where does that fit in the yak or smack?
Well, that's my take. Like my take is like keep the
Okay,
rule.
I think
Don't
we're all
get rid of it.
smacking on your opinion.
Yeah, we're
that's
all
a smack.
smacking on that opinion. I think it's like the football. And Ryan Clark had the greatest take on this, I thought. The football is like it's religious sanctimony. Like the football is precious. And the end zone, are you kidding me? The end zone is the finish line. It's where it's what the whole offense is predicated off of, getting in that damn end zone. And if you sacrifice that football, then you sacrifice the possession, and screw you, you lost. It's why it's so easy to coach too. Do not extend the football. Do not extend the football. Do not extend the football until it's fourth down. And that's all you have to coach. And the great coaches coach it, and the great players are disciplined about it. And the ones who,
Taunt after a big catch.
I wouldn't say that. I was just like the ones who do too much. There are football players that do too much. Just don't do too much. Stetson did too much in 2020 and 2021. 2022, played it straight. As straight as Stetson Bennett could, but, didn't do too much. Same thing. He had one of these plays against Tennessee. Kirby chewed his ass. The next time Tennessee played at home, he didn't do it.
Yep.
Reached with two hands, not one. So, yeah, no, protect the football. Screw that rule. Actually, yay that rule. Screw anybody trying to change it.
All right, cool.
Any more?
That's all.
think
That's
that
the
was
only
it.
topic I got for this.
All right. Senior Bowl impressions right quick before we flip over to the
You want to
local
set the
hour.
line or set the bar, I mean?
Oh, yeah, let's set the bar. We forgot about LSU. LSU is our program tonight that we're going to set the bar on. I think this one's really obvious, in my opinion. They got to finish top 3 in the SEC to be deemed a success. But to me, it's not even about finishing, really. The bar for Brian Kelly and LSU this year is drastic defensive improvement.
Yeah.
They have to be so much better on defense than they were last year, and that's all their fan base really cares about this year, in my opinion, or should.
Yeah, I think the bar got set a little too high. Your expectations after that first season where you won the West, kind of like, this is a national championship team. This is a playoff team. No, it wasn't. The defense had nothing going for it. So I think it was interesting to see. It is interesting to see now how much those expectations have been curtailed to where it's now kind of like, hey, we'll take a 2-loss season if it means, maybe we beat an Alabama, or if it means our defense is averaging 10 points less per game. So I think that's probably the expectations. I can't necessarily say a record or like there's a certain team they have to beat or a certain record they have to have.
Schedule's not that bad.
No.
No, it's
I looked
not.
at it today.
I have it pulled up right now. I can read it. You open up with USC, so you should win that one. Nicholls
Oh, no,
State,
Miller Moss, that guy.
Nicholls State, South Carolina, UCLA, South Alabama,
A lot
Ole
of
Miss,
California teams.
Arkansas,
That was
Texas
weird.
A&M, Alabama, Florida, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma.
It's very weird to see both USC and
So I
UCLA.
think the bar is split Alabama or Oklahoma. Like you have to beat one of those teams.
Yeah.
You have to, like you said, show improvement on defense and win 9 games. I think if you do all 3 of them, because what was their record this year?
They lost 3 games this year in the regular season.
Was it only 3?
I think so.
I think that's correct.
Then I
They
think you
lost
need-
to
I
Ole
think-
Miss. They lost to Alabama.
Dude, they get Alabama and Oklahoma at home, too.
They
Yeah,
beat Missouri.
And they get Ole Miss at home.
Let me look it up.
Dadgum.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The schedule's not terrible.
That's very fortunate for them.
So that'll be good news for them.
Oh, Florida State.
Yeah, to start the season.
Yeah.
That's right. Those are the 3 losses.
I
think that's the bar. Just general defensive improvement.
Yeah, I think obviously you're kind of under the assumption that you're definitely going to be taking a little bit of a step back on offense. I don't know how much, but probably pretty drastically compared to how well you did on offense this year. But I think if that comes alongside the fact that your defense gets immensely better, you take that trade-off every single day, because if you have an immensely better defense last year, then you win a lot more football games. I'm going to say based on the amount of home games that they have, the cap should be you lose 2 games, but you should definitely expect to be a top 12 football team, in my opinion, by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think the absolute threshold, this is just getting by, is 9 wins.
Yeah.
I think 10 wins is really what you should be aiming for. If you can get 9, hey, maybe we had a bad game here, but I do think you need to win 9 games or 10 games this year.
Top 3 is that line for getting into the playoff. I think.
Yeah, you'd be really stretching to put in 4 SEC teams.
Yeah. It'd be very interesting to see how they redo those.
I don't know. I mean, would you?
The playoffs.
I think the SEC can get 4 teams.
At that point, it
There's
depends. There
was a limit.
There's a limit. That sounds
There was per conference. You could only have 3 per conference.
At that point, though, you're getting into
It was the SEC rule. You're shaking your head. It was the SEC rule.
You're getting into the territory
but
too of it really just depends on what the rest of college football does too. Like, what does the Big Ten look like? What does Big 12 look like? ACC, etc.
All right, I got to tell you this about all these events. Now, I think the Senior Bowl is a tremendous event. I think it's a great opportunity for NFL evaluators to get their hands on football players and watch them, compete against one another in full pads. It's really the last time they'll get an opportunity to evaluate the football player, not the body and not what he looks like in shorts and a T-shirt. It's actual football playing. Now, here's what you got to be very careful about, particularly from a media observer, okay? And I've never been there, but I've been to a bunch of these types of events. And the number one thing that media members say to one another during these events is, hey, who'd you like today? Who'd you like today? Who'd you like today? Who'd you like today? And all they're doing is trying to gauge their own opinions. And what ends up happening is I go to Kirby and I say, hey, what'd you think today? And he tells me he likes 4 names, okay? And then I go to the next guy, hey, what'd you think today? And Jonathan gives me 4 new names, but 2 of those names are 2 of the names that Kirby mentioned. And then all of a sudden I talk to 7 guys and I got the same 4 names, okay? And these are my media darlings. And this is why every single time one of these things happens, like the Elite 11, there's one of these that comes out. Everybody loves them. You know who a classic example of this is? Ty Thompson. Ty Thompson back in 2021's Elite 11 was the media darling. Everybody loved Ty Thompson because he looked so pretty. He's so handsome, so big, so strong, rips it, okay? Just wasn't that good, okay? But everybody loved him. Everybody, and just, hey, what'd you think? I like that guy. All right, so you got to be very, very careful. And we can see this come out in the Senior Bowl every single year. There's always a media darling that just doesn't wind up, doesn't pan out, ends up going undrafted. Or, hey, what happened to that guy that balled out of the Senior Bowl? He's on a roster somewhere, but it didn't really work out. What I'm trying to tell you is be very, very careful if you ever get into an industry like this of asking other people their opinions because they will cloud yours.
That's valuable information.
Any general observations of day 1 at the Senior Bowl?
Nothing that we won't talk about in the Georgia Hour.
All right, let's flip it over. Play the intro.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Little man's name, Stanley from That's So Raven.
Stanley?
When the little guy in That's So Raven.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's in that movie. Do you ever see Role Models?
Yeah, his name's Kyle Massey.
All right, Kyle. No. That's the big brother. I'm like the.
Oh, you're talking about
big, I'm talking about the little kid.
Corey?
Anyways, he's in Role Models, and there's this scene in Role Models where he keeps calling this security agent Ben Affleck, and he's like, I don't even look like Ben Affleck. And the kid looks at him and goes, if you white, then you Ben Affleck. If you white and you play receiver, you are Hunter Renfrow. And it don't matter what you do. It don't matter how fast you are. It don't matter how good of a route runner you are. It doesn't matter if you average 18 yards per reception your junior year in college. It does not matter. It doesn't matter. If you look like Ladd McConkey, you are forever, ever, ever going to be linked to Julian Edelman, to Hunter Renfrow, to Danny Amendola, to all the little slot whites. All right, and I don't know what it is. Actually, I know what it is. It's just too easy. But, dude, it took 3 routes today. It took 3 routes for Charles Davis to come on NFL Network and go, that looked like Hunter Renfrow. Why? There was like 7 receivers in front of him that ran the same exact whip return. And, in fact, Ladd fell down on it. Ladd fell down on a whip return. And just because he's a little white guy out there, Charles Davis compared him to, I don't know, the best route runner in the league right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I tweeted about it, and people are going to lose their ever-loving minds when they find out what this dude's going to run in the 40. Like, it's not a secret. Again, if you've been doing the recruiting stuff, it's so important to do recruiting and cover recruiting when you cover college football, because you know these kids longer and you understand things more and you just have a deeper depth of knowledge than anybody else really that talks about it, because you've known these players for a long time. All right, I've known Ladd McConkey since about 6 weeks after he committed to the University of Georgia back in 2019, and when I went and saw that kid, he was not polished at all. Had very little route running abilities, very little. But when you ask him, you say, "Hey, what are you running the 40?" "Oh, well, I hand timed a 4.39 at Louisville last week." "What?" "Yeah, I hand timed 4.39. "What do you vert?" "I'm north of 40 inches on every day. Every day I've ever jumped, I jump north of 40 inches." Julian Amendola. Woo. Help.
My favorite ones were the Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is now being thrown into this one as if Cooper Kupp isn't 6'2".
Yeah.
Like, people are like, "Oh, he's an exact clone of Cooper Kupp, dude."
Yeah, that's the edgy one where it's like, "Oh, I'm not going to be like everyone else.
Not the slot guy.
I'm not going to say Julian Edelman. He's Cooper Kupp."
Yeah, like,
I'm just waiting for the day that, Ladd McConkey gets compared to like, I don't know, Nate Burleson. Yeah, or what's old man's that does podcasts now? I don't even forget his name.
That's everybody.
Yeah, it's everybody. Super Fast from the Browns does a podcast with Joe Thomas. Anyways, there's a bunch of these, and they're not all white. You don't have to do this every time, because again, he plays nothing like these other people. Hunter Renfrow ain't ran a double move on a vertical ball ever in his life. Not even at the days of Clemson. Everything was underneath. Everything was get open now. Everything was short yard. All this, right? Ladd is a lightning bolt. Ladd goes north and south better than anybody in this draft class for to an extent. Okay, some of the bigger guys do it great, but like the comments of the sections, we've talked about it all the time. The player comp for me has not always been, but it has been this year, Antonio Brown.
Yep.
Like without all the craziness. Antonio Brown is 5'10". He's 185 pounds, and he led the league in receiving for 4 years? As an X-receiver, as a primary one. Guess what, guys? That does not happen. Look at the Hall of Famers that played X-receiver. Go do it. Find me the one that's under 6 foot. You won't. You won't find it. Antonio Brown's about the only one. The rest of them, all 6 foot and above. They either look like Calvin Johnson, or to the lowest extent, they look like Odell Beckham, who, by the way, is 6 foot, 200 pounds. Okay? So this guy looks nothing like any of these dudes that dominated this position, but he has, okay, except for Antonio Brown. So only one. That's the comp that makes the most sense. All these lazy comps, they're exactly what it is. I respect the hell out of guys like Daniel Jeremiah, who actually worked for their comp, like Doug Baldwin. That took some time. That dude put some thought into that. He didn't just roll out and go, "Oh, you know who he is? He's Puka Nacua." Bro, Puka Nacua is 6'2", 215. Shut up. But Puka got a little too much melanin in his skin tone to be out here getting the wide receiver comp, right?
Yeah. I think
Isn't he Polynesian?
What gave that away?
The Nacua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it is kind of interesting just to, like you say, it's almost a joke at this point where any white receiver is just like, "Oh, here's the next Danny Amendola, or here's our Julian Edelman, or
Wes Welker.
Yeah, just name the possession guy. Where it's comical.
What's so funny to me too is like, and this happened with Stetson. Is these guys will go through their entire college career. I mean, 3+ years worth of doing exactly what he did today at the Senior Bowl. I mean, on a weekly basis, this is what Ladd McConkey was doing against SEC caliber defenses on the national championship level, whatever. He was doing exactly this, showcasing this exact skill set. And he runs 2 routes to the Senior Bowl, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, Ladd McConkey is freaking incredible. Have you guys seen this guy? He's amazing. And people did it with Stetson Bennett when it was the preseason. He went out there and threw 25 throws in a preseason NFL game, and everyone was like, well, dang, I think Stetson's got some juice to make it to the NFL maybe. Well, maybe the 4,000 yards and Heisman finalists maybe should have told you that this guy was a legit quarterback. Same thing with Ladd McConkey. Like, this dude's been doing it. Y'all just ain't been paying attention.
So the chat says that Advanced Stats had Ladd McConkey at 21.4 miles per hour one game this year. I just looked it up. That would have finished just outside the top 10 in fastest speed.
It was the Mississippi State game when
Correct.
he did the end around coming out of halftime.
That's right.
Burner.
I remember that.
Yes.
By the way, Tyreek Hill is on this list 3 times. 21.66 is his slowest time.
Jeez.
Or speed on this
That dude's
list.
different.
The fastest guy in the NFL. Do you know who it is?
John Ross.
No. I don't think he's in the league.
no, I don't
anymore.
think he is
It's just
either.
a joke.
Fastest guy in the league.
Give me a conference.
How about this? He's massive.
Oh, it's not Derrick Henry, is it?
No. It has been in years past, but it's not.
Massive as in like
Offense or defense?
Offense. These are all offensive players.
God, I don't know.
DK Metcalf.
I should have known that.
That dude's
Yeah.
just traitsy
That makes
as
sense.
traits he gets.
Straight line, dude. Absolute burner. But yeah, the easy, gritty lunch pail guy comps, they get real old real quick around here. Because again, we make jokes about it, but I think Ladd even laughs about it. To be honest with you, in fact, I know Ladd laughs about it. Like when we were at the Orange Bowl, when he got up off of his interview and he was walking to the other room, I kind of made a joke. It's like, thanks, Julian, for sitting down with us. Appreciate it. And he just laughed because he understands what it is. He knows that he ain't one of these guys. Like, bro, how do you average almost 20 yards of reception and people talk about you being a slot monster? What the is that? Come on, man. Been out here cooking SEC DBs for a while now.
It's a shame.
Shame. Easy takes.
Hey, Rojack got some love too.
Hey, what's easier, shitting or shitting on the NCAA or making wide receiver to wide receiver comps?
Shitting on the NCAA because it's more at this point universally like, yeah, you're right. Like wide receiver comps, it's kind of like almost like, here you go again with
If
this
the
bullshit.
wide receiver comp, at least they think they're doing the right thing. The NCAA thing is just them going in blindly like, yes, we get to all get our pitchforks out now because this is what I've been told to do. I can't wait for all of us to unite against They have no idea why they're on that stance. At least they think they're doing the right thing with the wide receiver
Just
comp.
the idea that you can just elect a commissioner and you're going to 100% agree with everything that person does is blasphemy to me. It's hysterical. In fact, if you listen to this show, I would just assume you don't say things like that anymore. Because, look, I'm here for shitting on the NCAA every time I get an opportunity to when it's warranted, right? When they, like, for example, make a guy like Destroy and quit playing college football because he was making money. That was bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? Go out and say that's bullshit. But, man, when they run Hugh Freeze down for the hookers on the school phone, come on, dog. Somebody got to be out here. Somebody got to be out here policing the streets, okay? Or else it's going to get way, way, way more corrupt than it's ever been. So, yeah, that's always been the funny one to me. Whoa, Ladd is 1 inch shorter version of Justin Blackman. Sir, I don't think you remember Justin Blackman. Justin Blackman was like 6'3", 205, and just bodied dudes on slants, didn't he? At Oklahoma
I
State?
just remember him being a cheat code.
Yeah, a huge-ass cheat code.
Yeah.
Like, massive human being. I would say
Shout out
Justin
Todd Monkey.
Blackman was more akin to DK Metcalf than he was to Ladd McConkey. But yeah, there's some decent stabs at a comp in there in that chat. Way, 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 way better than Hunter Renfrow.
Well, Justin Blackman was only 6'1".
Okay.
Okay, but about 205.
I can find that out in a sec.
Give me a weight on that. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate the comp. I just think he's a better route runner. I remember Blackman being a physical
210.
210. Yeah, that's a big dude.
It is big.
Okay,
Dude.
I think Ladd weighed in at 184 at the Senior Bowl.
Yes.
So, two totally different specimens. That's 25 pounds. That's a lot. All right, where do we want to go next? First, I want to welcome you in. We got a loaded show for you guys tonight. We're going to talk about the Georgia Bulldogs that are in the Super Bowl. Hopefully, I won't pass out. Carson Becker and Mike Bobo, what kind of steps can they take in week 2 or year 2? Also have an out of left field take that I don't think you're going to be prepared for with regards to that topic. Does the lack of divisions coming into the SEC help or hurt Georgia? Talk about that. 3 players that you're buying stock in. But first, I want to ask you to run over to prizepicks.com, use promo code Brooks. You get a 100% deposit match over there. Make sure you're supporting those who support us. By the way, neither of you have your 2% shoot shirt on. That's okay. If you check the link or the description of this video.
wore it yesterday.
You wore it yesterday? What kind of looks are you getting in that?
Not really looks, just a lot of questions. People aren't afraid to ask about it, which not a bad thing. But if you get the wrong person asking, it's like, you're helpless. I'm sorry, I can't help you out here.
Chooch, arm. That's all you gotta do.
It's like trying to translate a different language. Big arm, can throw football far.
That's about how I talk on here, so that's good. That's better than your original impersonation of me. We'll leave that off air.
Yeah, please.
But did you hear the opening today, though? The voice about went out that way.
Yeah.
So it was ugly there for a second. But what were we talking about?
You were about to do the plug.
Oh, I was doing a read, and we were about to do a plug for the
You're talking about the 2%
merch.
Yeah.
All right. The 2% chooch thing is two-pronged because you got to explain chooch, and then you got to explain how percentiles work, which I don't think a lot of our audience understands. Guys, if you're in the 1 percentile, all right, that means you're better than 99% of the others. All right. If you're in the 2 percentile, all right, that means you're better than 98% of others. All right, so there you go. That's how percentiles work. But yeah, we're going to debut the 2% chooch. I was supposed to have a meeting with Murray and his side of the business yesterday, but I was on my deathbed. So we had to cancel that one. And I can't imagine what I sounded like on that phone call when Murray called me. Woke me up at a nap at about 9:15 in the morning. That's right. I was already down for a nap at 9:15. And I was like, buddy, I can't do it. I'm going to have to suffer through a show tomorrow night, but that's all I got. So, yeah, shouts out to Prize Picks. Run over to Prize Picks today. Use promo code Brooks, 100% deposit.
Longest Prize Picks ad read ever.
Hell yeah.
All kinds of love.
Ooh, boy, we are weaning. Hey, how about them dogs in the Super Bowl?
What is it now? 22?
23 years in a row. Georgia players played.
Is that
in
the
Super
record?
Bowl. I think it is the longest active. I don't know if it's the longest of all time.
I thought LSU had a streak there
You
for a
want to
while.
hear something crazy?
What's up?
I saw this today, and Georgia fans will love this. After this year's conference championship round, it confirmed yet again that an Alabama player or Alabama quarterback will not score a single point in a Super Bowl. They never have. Not a single Alabama quarterback has ever scored a point in a Super
Namath's
Bowl.
the only one that's even made it, right?
Yeah, and he didn't
There's
score.
2 of them. Namath is one, and then there's another
Some
one.
dude that played for the Chiefs.
I can't remember
Some
who it
random name.
was.
Yeah,
I can't remember his
I remember
name.
this trivia question.
Was
Yeah.
McCarron on the Bengals when?
Yeah, but he didn't play.
Yeah, but like.
And people get misconstrued about it because it's not
And
throwing
I don't think he was on that roster when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
because it's not throwing a touchdown does not count to be responsible for the points. You have to physically score the points yourself, running it in or whatever.
Namath didn't even throw a touchdown.
No, did not.
That's wild.
I think the other guy is the first quarterback to have not thrown or have not ran in or thrown a touchdown in a Super Bowl game and won, I think.
Comments talking about Bart Starr. Was Bart Starr at Alabama?
I think he was.
I thought he was in the academy.
No, yeah, Bart Starr went to Army.
Is it no Alabama player? I thought it was just quarterbacks. Wow. That's even crazier if it's not a single Alabama player.
I don't think it is.
Anyways, back to the Georgia players. 23 years. That's pretty insane to think about, especially because, there were Georgia players in the league prior to when Kirby Smart got there, but it wasn't like it is now, where, you feel like you pretty much have someone represented on every team pretty well. Like, you have multiple players, it feels like, on every single team at this point. Whereas beforehand, it was like, A.J. Green's around, Matthew Stafford's around, but Matthew Stafford was nowhere sniffing a Super Bowl. And then you had some guys on the defensive field. But now, it seems like you're pretty – who knows how long this streak will continue now with the amount of Georgia players that are in the NFL and continue to enter the NFL on a yearly basis.
Yeah, you've had double-digit draft classes over the last 3 or 4 seasons. So the talent pool in the NFL for Georgia is only going to get bigger. So it is impressive to see 23 straight years. It's understandable, though, when you just see – 4 out of the 5 of those guys played under Georgia, played under Kirby Smart. The only one who didn't was Chris Conley. He's a veteran who's been there since 2013 or 14.
It's people like him that are a reason why this streak continues, of people like Charlie Warner and people like Chris Conley, who are able to just find a life in the NFL. You stick to your role no matter how much it sucks, even if it's being an end-line blocker as a tight end. If you're damn good at it, then you're going to stick around the league forever. I think this is Chris Conley's 3rd team now in the NFL, but people keep picking him up, and he plays.
It's his 4th.
It was with the Texans. He was with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I know of, and now he's he was with the Chiefs.
He was drafted by the Chiefs
and the Chiefs. You're right. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Shout out Chris Conley.
But you're right about finding a role. Charlie Warner found one real quick.
Yep.
And didn't even try to expound upon anything else. He was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna run my face through a wall. Y'all got some checks for somebody willing to do that."
Fitzpatrick's done it with the Falcons.
Yeah,
that's what he's done.
Also blocked on Twitter by John Fitzpatrick.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know what I did there. I think it was probably one of those comments about needing someone to run their face through a wall. I don't think he took akin to me calling him a blocking tight end.
He probably took that as, this dude just thinks I suck.
Or, I just don't like this guy. I'm going to block him. So,
interesting.
Him and Quay Walker. I'm sure there's others, but just those 2 right now that I know of.
You got blocked by Quay Walker?
Yeah, and that was my fault. I made a joke I shouldn't have made, which was during the Peach Bowl in 2020. Mm-hmm. Going right before COVID, right?
Yeah, in Cincinnati, it was 2020.
JT Daniels, the jewel pod kick.
Yep.
That game. He made just an absolute horrendous hold on a kickoff return, and he wasn't playing his best football game. If y'all remember, Cincinnati opened the game with like an 80-yard ripper right down the gut.
Yep.
And it's because Quay jumped 2 gaps over, and they hit it right down B gap. And I tweeted after the hold, "Damn, that's the best tackle Quay Walker's made all game." And I put a crying emoji, letting everybody know that I was joking. And he copied the link to the tweet, sent it to me on DMs, laughing emojis 3 times, and then blocked me on Twitter. Which, by the way, Quay, I don't want no smoke, buddy. You're good. And I think if he would have stuck around long enough, he would have, not that you have to do this, but I came around on Quay as everybody else did. Like, Quay's senior year is some of the best, from his junior tape to his senior tape, some of the best development you'll ever see.
Yeah.
It was night and day.
2020
difference.
to 2021, the growth in those 2 years was immaculate.
Immaculate. And sometimes all it takes is playing time. I think, that's one thing that keeps these coaches hoping and praying, right? Just give the guy some chances, and hopefully he'll work all the kinks out. And that's exactly what Quay did. But I have tweets of saying Quay Walker's better than 99% of starters in college football. I have tweets about him tackling somebody on kickoff return, and I'm blocked. So there it is.
Can't win them all.
Hey, unblock me, Quay. Malik Herring, Mecole Hardman, Charlie Warner, Chris Conley, Robert Beal. Those 5 will be
Robert Beal actually could win his 3rd straight championship if the 49ers win, because he went back-to-back at Georgia, and then rookie year you win the Super Bowl. It's a pretty good run, dude.
That is a pretty good run.
Damn, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a chance at a 3-peat right there.
3-peat from the college to the NFL is pretty insane.
And do the 3-peat as like a 2nd or 3rd stringer, and then be on IR and get a ring. That right there, that's the way to do it. That's extending the longevity of that career span right there.
Yeah. No doubt about that.
It's hard to make these rosters.
Yeah,
so it's good on him. Speaking of hard to make the rosters, like Malik Herring still on a roster this long into college football, or this long into his professional career, is nuts. Bro, I hate troll accounts. I absolutely hate troll accounts.
Why? What happened?
Did you see this tweet about the number of NCAA investigations in the last 15 years?
Oh, with where it says like Tennessee's got 50 or something?
48. And this comes from some guy named Richard West.
And it's since when?
Since the last 15 years.
Holy cow.
Yes, they are. I asked if they're real. They're not real. They can't be real. Basically, it says that everybody in the SEC has fewer than 5 investigations on them in the last 15 years, and Tennessee's got 48. I don't believe that to be true. I do know that Tennessee's done enough to get investigated multiple times.
There's got to be some type of, I don't know. I can't think of exactly what, but there's no way that that's true. 48 is an absurd amount.
All right, Carson Beck, Mike Bobo, y'all talk about it. I got to take to save.
All right, so I kind of wrote an article on this about how Carson Beck basically has Christian Gokel wrote the article about how Carson Beck has a chance to break all the records. He broke the completion percentage record this year. He was essentially one start away from breaking Stetson Bennett's 4,000-yard record. I think he finished the year with, 3,941, something like that.
Yeah.
So just the fact that he's coming back, he's in another system under Mike Bobo, I think is going to be a big boost for his skill set and play and output coming into the next season. But I wrote about Mike Bobo, how he could have a much improved season to where even last year was good. They ended up averaging 40 points per game after the Orange Bowl, but just the fact that he's going to have another year to grasp the offensive concepts that were left behind by Monken. He's got a returning quarterback. He's got an offensive line unit that could very well win the Joe Moore Award. I think Georgia's offense is in for a big improvement from what it already was last year. So
I think Carson Beck might have had the quietest top 5 passing yard season in a hot minute. I mean, because when you ask any non-Georgia fan, like, what do you think about Carson Beck? They're going to give you he's all right. Like, he's nothing special. Like, whatever.
He hasn't won me over yet.
Yeah, like those types of answers. And then when you say, like, did you know that he was 3rd in college football for passing yards? And they're like, no, he wasn't. There's no way. And it was so quiet. It wasn't – I don't want to say it wasn't talked about enough, but it was not perceived that way by anybody that Carson Beck was having that type of season. I don't know if it's that he wasn't putting up the touchdown numbers that typical quarterbacks do when they throw for that many yards, but he was the most efficient passer in all of college football in his first year as a starter at the collegiate level. And now you're adding on a second year with it. The only thing going against Carson Beck this next year is that he's going to lose quite a few of his main weapons, his core weapons, a lot of people that he's worked with for multiple seasons.
For his entire career, pretty much.
I mean, you could also argue that all around his talent pool that he is throwing to this next year got even better than it was last year because of the people that they got from the portal. The only place obviously is the tight end room. It's not going to be better because you don't have Brock Bowers. But holistically, from a receiving core perspective, I think it definitely improved quite a bit, and that's massive for him going into this final season.
All right, here's my take. I love Todd Monken as much as the next guy. I really do. I think he's great. You know, one of our highest watched videos of all time was a breakdown of what he was doing at Tampa and what he was doing in Cleveland before he came to Georgia back in 2020. I think he's a great coordinator. I think he's going to have a job in the NFL coordinating for quite a while based off what he did this year with Baltimore. But as much as y'all want to shit on Mike Bobo and as much as everybody clamors for Todd Monken, and again, I'm a Todd Monken fan, let's not act like he didn't call an absolute dumpster fire of a football game this weekend with the Baltimore Ravens. And you'll say, but Brooks, that was the NFL. And yeah, he only ran the ball 6 times in the entire football game without his quarterback touching the ball, despite the fact that they led the league in rushing this year. That's a bad game. But hey, that's the NFL. Bad games happen in the NFL. He didn't do that shit with Georgia. Do y'all not remember the 2021 SEC championship game? Because I do. I remember coming on here and being like, damn, dude, I've been out here singing your praises all year. Why are we running Z-spot 3 times in a row on 3rd and 5? What are we doing? Why are we doing that? All right, because there was a game against Alabama that year where he laid an egg. All right, and I don't hear anybody remembering those things. You only remember that game probably for Stetson's pick 6 or whatever. But I remember that game for, damn, that's not the coordinator that I remember. That's not the coordinator I've watched all year. Now, granted, he went into the college football playoff. They fixed things. They went on to win a national title. That's all fine and good. But I feel like too many times we judge the results instead of just judging that, like just judging the performance over and over again, where like, hey, Mike Bobo didn't have his best game of the year in the SEC championship game this year, but the dude still put up, 24 points? Okay?
Yeah.
I think they scored 17 in that 2021 SEC championship game. Okay, so like
24
points?
Yep.
Hindsight's very much so 2020 on that one. Because, again, Monken, as great as we want to say he is, he's got two absolute eggs in the last 3 years as coordinator.
Yeah, and I think it's mainly just because for whatever reason at the start of the season, Georgia has this predetermined scapegoat where if something's going wrong, it's this guy's fault. 2021 and 2022, it was Stetson Bennett. If the offense wasn't clicking, if something was going wrong, God, Stetson Bennett, what's he doing? What's going on here? Todd Monken leaves, Stetson Bennett goes to the NFL. You have Mike Bobo and Carson Beck, a guy that a lot of people have been clamoring for 4 years now, comes in, and you hire Mike Bobo. All of a sudden, Mike Bobo is going to ruin Carson Beck. Mike Bobo is the reason why. And then you saw the struggles early in the or not even struggles, but kind of slow starts early in the season was, Mike Bobo is ruining our offense. It's Mike Bobo's fault. So I think that's why you see the sentiment of, Mike Bobo is the bad offensive coordinator.
Offensive coordinators tend to be one of those things where you don't realize how good you have it until you get the next bad one. And then you're like, holy cow. Like, as Chaney wasn't even that great, but James Coley, by God, made Jim Chaney look like the god of all offensive coordinators. So I think it's like and I think it's because Bobo maybe isn't as great as Monken, but he's pretty dang close to it. He's about as close as maybe you can get to not having Todd Monken.
He's a half a point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not
Todd
even
Monken
that.
averaged 41 points per game. He averaged 40 and a half.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Mike Bobo's done this in his first season as the coordinator.
Yeah.
Like, go back and look at Todd Monken's 2020 season. I think they averaged like 36 points per game. It wasn't anything to write home about. So, I mean, give Bobo another year under this system. Give him another year where he calls all the shots. He's coaching all of his players. He's developing guys the way he intends to, and he's recruiting the way he intends to as well. So I think that's why year 2 is gonna be so special for Bobo.
I want to address this comment here. It says basically it's tough to run the ball when you're down. They were down 10 points in that football game. That's not like down 3 scores. That's not completely abandon the game plan.
That's called playing the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Where you just feel like you can't because you're down.
Yeah, the Mahomes effect.
So, yeah, no, that is true. The Mahomes effect in the sense that he puts pressure on you. But
yeah, if you're down 10, you feel like
you're down 20.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on. Sports betting coming to Georgia? Is this true?
I bet this perked your ears, huh?
Yeah, you gambling fiend.
Why does everyone shit on me as like the gambler?
We don't shit on you. You bring insight.
Easy, Keishawn Boutte.
Yeah, see. But no, there's a bill that has been passed, or not passed, but enacted. Let me read the bill.
Oh, you did the reading for us.
I'm going to do the reading for you.
That boy Reed?
A bill to be entitled an act aimed at Title 50 of OCGA relating to state government so as to authorize and provide the regulation and taxation of sports betting in this state, to change certain provisions relating to increased funding to states' pre-K programs, to provide for corporation engagee, blah, 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 blah. So basically all it's saying is that the sports betting thing will be kind of treated like the Georgia lottery, where it supplements public funding, preschools, public schools such as that. Rules are you have to be 21 or older to bet. It prohibits coaches and players from betting. It does not include high school, and I believe this morning it passed in a Senate group, so it's going to go to full Senate by Thursday. So hopefully soon the state of Georgia gets full sports gambling.
Love it.
Which would be just wonderful.
I feel it's definitely one of those things where it's like eventually I feel like everybody's going to get to this point. It's too big of a money pool not to get involved in it.
I saw something that said proceeds will go to like pre-K or like elementary school development.
Yeah.
Or something. There's like a sidebar where some of the money's going to. So
it's essentially going to do what the Georgia Lottery does now, where a lot of this money is put back into the public, which is good.
But until it's legal. Shout out Prize Picks.
Shout out to Prize Picks.
Shout out to Prize Picks.
Now you know it. Never mind. I can't.
What?
I'm not. No. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, no.
Don't do that. I don't know what you're gonna do. Don't do it.
I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Treat sponsor well.
No, I wasn't against a sponsor.
Oh,
I'm just not gonna do it.
Shout out. But yeah, shouts out to sports betting. I am running through this really, really quickly because I am weaning here, boys and girls.
You got your You're halfway there.
Huh?
You're halfway there.
Oh, dude, if you think we're going the full hour, you are mistaken. You're as high as I feel now.
Speaking of buying and whatnot, putting money into things, you want to buy some stock?
I would rather talk about these lack of divisions, and then we'll buy stock to finish the show.
All right. Sounds good.
No divisions anymore in college football, really. I think everyone's doing away with it. The SEC obviously doing away with it this year. And the question Kirby proposed to us via the show notes today is, does the lack of divisions help or hurt the University of Georgia? I would say this answer is very cyclical. meaning it all depends on how good the East is, and the East ain't been better than the West since, I don't know, 2000 and Urban Meyer.
Since Florida was really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
since 2008, 2009.
2008, 2009. So since then, it's been a cakewalk.
Yeah.
You should win. You should win your conference, or you should win your division. But so this makes it harder. I think the West, over the last decade, the West has been unquestionably harder.
Oh, yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. But here's my thing, though. With the no divisions, you now also have the 12-team playoff. Teams are almost benefited by not winning your conference. So say this year, for example, Georgia loses to Texas and Alabama. They go 10-2 on the year. They're still deemed a top 12 team. Texas and Alabama then have to play in the SEC championship, duke it out again, where Georgia, you get to sit at home. You get to rest. You get to not have to play guys that are injured like you saw in this year. And you're probably still going to be a playoff team because everyone respects you as Georgia, and you lost to two very respectable teams. So I think that's where it can end up helping you. Yeah, you're going to miss some conference championships in the long run, but you're also going to set yourself up for more success in the end. Now, obviously, if you go 9-3 and you miss the 12-team playoff, that doesn't help you at all, but divisions weren't going to save you from that either.
I think it would have a better idea about how to answer this question once we get into the next year of how like the schedule is going to look like. Because this year, you can cut it up however you want. Georgia's got a tough schedule. I mean, a really tough schedule. The fact that you have to play the 3 road games that you do, that's a tough draw. And compared to like what you've been able to do for the last 3 years, it sucks. I mean, not having Vandy on the schedule every single year, like that guarantee, I think that automatically deems it a little tougher for Georgia. And then even schools like, say what you want about South Carolina. I know they got the best of Georgia 6 years ago or whatever, but I mean, that's pretty much always because they're like, yeah, that's a dub. And so I think it definitely has made it a little bit harder, especially going into this year. But once you kind of get into this rhythm of the schedule, I don't think it's going to matter. I think for a program like Georgia, it shouldn't matter.
Good take. Hey, let's give them 3. We got 3 players you're buying stock in. I'll go quick. Damon Wilson, I think is going to be a freak this year. I hope they let that dude go. Let that guy play. And the hard part about this at Georgia is they're very selective, right? Like Damon Wilson probably this year, especially with Michael playing Jack, probably not going to play a lot of first and second down. Probably going to be on the field on 3rd and long. And in that case, you got to maximize the opportunities. I think his skill set's worthy enough to put him in this list that I think he can maximize those opportunities. Number 2 is a guy we did a film study on over on patreon.com/Brooks Austin last week, and that's Rod Robinson. Was really, really impressed with what he put on tape against Florida State. And then my 3rd and final is not because I 100% believe that this is the best answer at the position, but it has to happen, and he has shown flashes, and that's Jared Wilson. Jared Wilson's going to slide in at center, and I have put my stamp on, I think Dylan Fairchild, Tate Ratledge, or Micah need to learn how to play center, but that's just me. I think I would rather have 3 NFL football players playing, and then we rotate Jared Wilson in instead of playing Jared Wilson and rotating one of the NFL players in. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Not that Jared Wilson might not be an NFL football player, but again, my guy coming out of high school, somebody that I was really, really heavy on and loved, and I couldn't understand why he was this, when he committed to Georgia, he was a 3-star recruit. And this was a guy who had a committable offer from Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Texas, like all the dudes. And 24/7 Sports and the ranking services was like, I don't know about this guy. So anyways, I was a big Jared Wilson fan coming out, and I think you have to buy stock into the guy who's going to step in and play center this year.
Give him 3.
Oh, yeah. Give him 3.
Sounded like he took one of yours.
That was the
I think you
most
should go next.
unenthusiastic give him 3 I've heard from you.
Bro,
Home stretch, all right?
down bad.
You got it, dude. You can.
I'll let you go
I'm
because it
here
sounds
now.
like he took one of yours.
So Rod Robinson was a guy I had. I think that he's going to be a surprise in the running back room a lot, where people are kind of expecting the return of Branson Robinson, the emergence of Nate Frazier. Roderick Robinson showed a lot on tape last year. It kind of impressed me. I had Anthony Evans in my buy stock, but you announced to me today that he's running track, so I think that's going to be a.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Do what you want. Get better how you want. You're a football player, dude. You're on scholarship to play football. I know you're a 10-3 guy. Hell, I know you might go out there and run 10-1-4. But the history of the University of Georgia tells us that this is not going to behoove you. You want playing time, don't run track. This is wild. Wild. I can't believe they let him do it, honestly.
Do you think that the coaching staff would ever encourage something
No,
like that.
Absolutely not. There's
No, this ain't high
college.
school.
Yeah, college football coaches are so selfish.
I don't know.
I mean, what better development are you going to get than playing football for
No,
me?
I agree.
I'm Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
Well, I also
You want
think
to go run
like
track? Fuck out of here. You can go run hundreds after practice. What are we doing?
yeah.
So who are your other two?
Yeah, who are the other two?
So I'm also set buying stock in Janelle Aguero. I think that star
one.
position, maybe safety, he's probably gonna make a couple plays this year. And this one, I'm buying stock in this person. He's a well-known name, well-known commodity among the Georgia fan base. But I think this is the last year before he emerges on the national scene. That's C.J. Allen. This is the lowest you're gonna be able to buy C.J. Allen stock right now before people are like, oh my God, who's this C.J. Allen guy? He looks like Roquan Smith 2.0 or whatever. So I think right before the national media starts, because it's already kind of taken off, buy stock in C.J. Allen if you haven't already.
Hey, Christian Kirby, give him 3.
From a stock standpoint,
Bring us
absolutely
home, baby.
Great
Bring us
time
home.
to invest. All right, first one I got Kristen Miller. After watching what I did in 2023 from him, it's hard for me not to invest any type of stock in him because when guys flash the way he did in the snaps that he got, that just tells me that the more workload that he gets, the more big plays that he's going to make. And for a defensive line that feels like that entire room is going to step forward, I feel like Kristen Miller is definitely a player that is going to make a massive step forward in 2024.
Dos más. 2 more.
Oh, I thought you were commenting on my pick.
Nah,
That was
dos más.
Spanish.
Dos
All right,
más.
I went on the offensive line as well. Dylan Fairchild. I was reading up on 2025 NFL draft prospects, and they had him as one of the top prospects next year. So he's getting attention, and he's going to get even more this next year in 2024. And then my final one, I went with a running back as well, but I went with Nate Frazier.
Yeah.
If he is anything of what we think he is going to be, that guy is going to get playing time year one, and he is going to make some big plays and flash like a lot of these freshman running backs.
My guy. Hey, Jay Will, give him 3. I'll see y'all Thursday. My God, I'm going to go take a nap.
A nap at 9:30?
Dude, I don't know.
I think that's just sleep, brother.
Know.